What if the biggest threat to your heart isn't the food on your plate, but the pressure in your mind? The deadlines, the arguments, the silent worries you carry every single day. What if your heart has been quietly struggling under stress and you didn't even realize it? Most people think of heart disease as something caused only by cholesterol, fried food, or lack of exercise. But science tells a much deeper story. Chronic stress, the kind that doesn't go away after a bad day, can slowly, silently damage your heart in ways that are easy to ignore until it's too late. When you're stressed, your body goes into survival mode. Your brain signals the release of stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. Your heart starts beating faster. Your blood pressure rises. Your muscles tense. This reaction is incredibly helpful if you're running from danger. But here's the problem. Your body doesn't know the difference between a life-threatening emergency and an angry email from your boss. If stress happens once in a while, your body resets. But when stress becomes chronic, weeks, months, even years, your heart never truly relaxes. It stays on high alert. Over time, constantly elevated cortisol levels can increase blood pressure, raise blood sugar, and trigger inflammation inside your blood vessels. Inflammation is especially dangerous because it damages the lining of your arteries. When that lining becomes irritated, cholesterol is more likely to stick to it, forming plaque. This plaque can narrow arteries and increase the risk of heart attack and stroke. In other words, stress doesn't just make you feel overwhelmed, it physically reshapes your cardiovascular system. One of the earliest warning signs many people ignore is persistent fatigue. Not the normal tiredness after a long day, but a deep, draining exhaustion that doesn't improve with rest. Chronic stress keeps your nervous system switched on. Your heart is working harder than it should, even when you're sitting still. Over time, this constant strain can leave you feeling depleted. Another subtle sign is frequent headaches or a tight feeling in your chest or neck. When stress hormones surge, blood vessels constrict. This tightening can increase blood pressure and reduce blood flow efficiency. Many people mistake this sensation for anxiety alone without realizing their cardiovascular system is involved. You might also notice your heart racing unexpectedly. Palpitations, that fluttering or pounding feeling, are often triggered by stress hormones. While occasional palpitations can be harmless, frequent episodes may indicate that your heart rhythm is being disturbed by ongoing stress. Sleep is another powerful clue. Chronic stress disrupts sleep patterns by keeping cortisol levels high at night when they're supposed to be low. Poor sleep itself is strongly linked to higher blood pressure, insulin resistance, and increased risk of heart disease. So stress creates a cycle. Stress harms sleep, poor sleep strains the heart, and a strained heart makes the body less resilient to stress. And then there's emotional numbness. Many people under long-term stress stop feeling intense emotions. They function, they work, they handle responsibilities, but they feel disconnected. This emotional suppression may seem like strength, but research shows that bottling up emotions can elevate blood pressure and increase cardiac risk. Perhaps the most dangerous part of chronic stress is how normal it feels. You adjust, you adapt, you tell yourself, this is just life. Meanwhile, your heart continues to absorb the pressure. Studies have shown that people exposed to prolonged psychological stress have a significantly higher risk of developing hypertension. Others link chronic stress to increased levels of C-reactive protein, a marker of inflammation associated with heart disease. In fact, some cardiologists now consider stress management just as important as diet and exercise in preventing heart problems. But here's something many don't realize: stress doesn't just increase long-term risk, it can also trigger immediate events. Have you ever heard of broken heart syndrome, medically known as stress-induced cardiomyopathy? It occurs after intense emotional stress. A sudden surge of stress hormones temporarily weakens the heart muscle. Symptoms can mimic a heart attack, chest pain, shortness of breath. Even though there's no blocked artery, while often reversible, it proves how deeply emotions and heart function are connected. Your heart isn't just a pump, it's responsive, sensitive, reactive to your mental state. And yet most people ignore the whispers before the alarm. Subtle shortness of breath while climbing stairs, slight swelling in the ankles, a feeling of pressure in the chest during arguments, irritability combined with high blood pressure readings. These are not just bad days. They may be your cardiovascular system asking for attention. Stress also influences behavior. When overwhelmed, people are more likely to reach for comfort foods high in sugar and salt, skip workouts, smoke more, or drink excessively. These coping mechanisms further increase heart strain, so stress attacks both directly through hormones and inflammation and indirectly through habits. The connection between the mind and heart is so strong that researchers have found that people with high levels of chronic stress often have increased arterial stiffness. Stiffer arteries mean the heart must pump harder to circulate blood. Over time, that added effort can weaken the heart muscle. And here's something deeply important: you don't have to feel anxious to be stressed. Some of the most chronically stressed individuals appear calm on the outside. They manage responsibilities, take care of others, and keep pushing forward. But internally, their bodies are carrying a constant burden. The heart feels that burden. If you've been living in a state of constant urgency, always thinking about the next problem, the next bill, the next obligation, your body may never be fully shifting into repair mode. True healing in the body happens when the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest system, is activated. Chronic stress suppresses this system, limiting the heart's opportunity to recover. And over years, this imbalance accumulates. So, how can you recognize when stress is genuinely harming your heart before it becomes a serious problem? The first step is awareness. Notice patterns, not just moments. Do you frequently feel tension in your chest after a long day at work? Does your heart rate spike for seemingly minor triggers? Do you struggle to wind down even in calm environments? These aren't signs of weakness. They are your body signaling that it's under prolonged strain. Another early indicator is high blood pressure that seems resistant to change, even if you eat well and exercise. Chronic stress keeps your blood vessels tense, forcing your heart to work harder over time. Many people only discover this during routine checkups, which is why regular monitoring is essential. Mood changes can also reveal heart strain. Persistent irritability, anxiety, or depressive feelings aren't just mental health issues. They are closely linked to cardiovascular health. Stress hormones affect neurotransmitters in the brain, which in turn influence heart action. In fact, studies show that people with high stress levels have a 27% increased risk of heart disease compared to those with low stress. That's not just a number. It's a wake-up call. Lifestyle patterns reveal clues as well. Do you find yourself relying heavily on caffeine or alcohol to cope with stress? Are workouts becoming inconsistent because you feel too drained? These behaviors might seem harmless, but they amplify the strain on your cardiovascular system. Stress doesn't work alone. It collaborates with lifestyle choices to silently increase heart risk. Now, let's talk about the physical sensations most people overlook. Shortness of breath, even during mild activity, can be a subtle warning sign. Rapid or irregular heartbeats, unexplained fatigue, headaches, and tension in the jaw or neck all suggest that the heart and blood vessels are under prolonged pressure. These signs often precede more serious conditions like arrhythmias, high blood pressure, or even heart attacks. Chronic stress also affects recovery. When the heart experiences strain, it needs rest to repair itself. But if stress prevents deep sleep, proper nutrition, and relaxation, recovery never happens. The heart is forced into a continuous cycle of overwork. Over months and years, this can manifest as persistent chest discomfort, arterial plaque buildup, or even heart failure in extreme cases. Another factor people underestimate is the role of inflammation. Cortisol, the stress hormone, doesn't just affect your heart rate, it can create chronic low-level inflammation in arteries. Inflammation damages the vascular walls, making it easier for plaque to form and arteries to stiffen. Combine that with high blood pressure and lifestyle factors like smoking or poor diet, and the risk multiplies. But here's the hopeful part: recognizing the connection between stress and heart health gives you power. Unlike some risk factors you can't control, chronic stress is something you can manage with the right tools. Simple daily practices can significantly reduce strain on your heart. Techniques like deep breathing, mindfulness meditation, moderate exercise, and adequate sleep all help activate the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and repair mode, giving your heart a chance to recover. Even small adjustments matter. Taking brief breaks during work, limiting exposure to negative news, or setting boundaries on stressful commitments can lower cortisol levels. Nutrition plays a role too. Foods rich in omega-3 fatty acids, antioxidants, and minerals like magnesium help reduce inflammation and support cardiovascular health. Hydration, consistent movement, and avoiding excessive stimulants like caffeine or sugar also make a tangible difference. Social support is another underappreciated tool. Sharing concerns with friends, family, or mental health professionals doesn't just ease emotional stress, it can lower blood pressure and heart rate. Studies consistently show that people with strong social connections recover faster from stressful events and have lower long-term cardiac risk. The key is prevention, not reaction. Chronic stress doesn't have to escalate into severe heart conditions. Awareness, lifestyle adjustments, and proactive stress management can literally save your life. Yet, despite all this knowledge, many people wait until a medical crisis occurs before taking stress seriously. The truth is, your heart doesn't send loud alarms, it whispers in subtle ways. Ignoring the whispers is the real danger. Understanding chronic stress and its impact on the heart is one thing, but taking action is where the real change happens. Think of it like this: your heart is a finely tuned engine. Stress acts like grit in the gears. If you don't clean it out, the engine eventually falters. But with consistent care, it can run smoothly for decades. One of the most effective ways to protect your heart is movement. Exercise doesn't just burn calories, it lowers cortisol, improves blood flow, reduces arterial stiffness, and strengthens the heart muscle itself. Even moderate activities like brisk walking, cycling, or yoga for 20-30 minutes a day can make a huge difference. The key is consistency, not intensity. Breathing exercises are another powerful tool. Simple techniques like diaphragmatic breathing or box breathing send a signal to your nervous system that it's time to relax. Within minutes, heart rate slows, blood pressure drops, and stress hormones decrease. Over time, regular practice rewires your body's response to stress, making your heart more resilient. Mindfulness and meditation also play a critical role. When you practice mindfulness, you train your brain to stay present, reducing the constant mental chatter that drives stress. Studies show that meditation can lower blood pressure, reduce inflammation, and even improve heart rate variability, a key marker of cardiovascular health. Nutrition is equally important. Chronic stress can trigger cravings for processed, high sugar and high fat foods, which further burden the heart. Prioritizing whole foods, vegetables, fruits, lean proteins, and healthy fat supports the cardiovascular system. Foods rich in omega-3 fatty acids, like salmon, chia seeds, and walnuts, are especially protective, reducing inflammation and supporting heart rhythm stability. Sleep cannot be overlooked. Quality sleep is when the heart repairs itself. Chronic stress disrupts this repair cycle, so creating a bedtime routine, limiting screens before sleep, and keeping your bedroom dark and cool are simple but powerful strategies. Even 1 hour of extra restorative sleep per night can improve heart health significantly over time. Social connection is another surprisingly effective defense. Talking, laughing, and spending time with supportive friends or family helps buffer the physical effects of stress. Emotional support lowers cortisol, reduces blood pressure, and improves overall heart resilience. Humans are wired for connection, and the heart thrives when we nurture relationships. Lastly, learning to set boundaries is crucial. Chronic stress often comes from overcommitment and feeling trapped by obligations. Saying no, delegating tasks, or carving out time for yourself isn't selfish, it's life-saving. Your heart literally benefits when your mind is calm. The truth is, chronic stress is not just an inconvenience, it's a major risk factor for your heart. But unlike many other risks, it's controllable. Awareness, lifestyle changes, and intentional stress management can protect your cardiovascular system, improve your quality of life, and give you years of healthy heart function. If you notice persistent fatigue, chest tension, palpitations, disrupted sleep, or emotional numbness, don't ignore it. These are whispers from your heart urging you to slow down and care for yourself. Start small, a short walk, deep breathing, a healthy meal, or a relaxing evening routine. Over time, these small choices compound into a strong, resilient heart. Your heart is listening. What you choose to do today, how you manage stress, how you care for your body and mind, will determine its health for years to come. Protect it, listen to it, and never underestimate the power of calm in a world that constantly demands more. Chronic stress isn't just in your mind. It lives in your body, quietly shaping the health of your heart. The good news is that you don't have to wait for a warning sign, a diagnosis, or a medical emergency to take action. Awareness is the first step, and small, intentional changes can create monumental impact. Every deep breath, every walk, every mindful moment, every nutritious meal, and every hour of restful sleep is a gift to your heart. Your heart thrives not on perfection, but on consistency, care, and respect for its limits. Remember, the whispers your body sends today can become life-saving alerts tomorrow. Don't wait for a crisis to prioritize your well-being. Manage stress, nurture your mind, strengthen your body, and your heart will reward you with years of vitality, resilience, and life. Your heart is listening. Are you ready to respond?